of Money with Santosh Sirur.
Hello and welcome to another amazing episode of The Sound of Money. Thank you so much for the fantastic response from my last episode, of course, the one which was with Mr. Suresh Sodagopan, where we spoke about his new book. And now, of course, it's ready in the market and available in the market. So do go for it. And today we have another amazing, wonderful guest joining me from Mumbai. Incidentally, he's my friend. He's my ex-colleague and, in fact, my college buddy. And well, it's also, equally amazing to interview someone who's on the other side of the screen. And that's Mr. Chandan Bagwe joining me from Mumbai. He's the founder and MD of CCOM Digital, which is India's leading digital agency. And we'll talk about CCOM a little later on in the show. But first, let me introduce and welcome Chandan on the show. Hi, Chandan, and welcome to The Sound of Money.
Hi, Santosh. Thank you very much for calling me on your show. Looking forward for a great discussion. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Chandan. And what is it that Chandan is going to bring into this table or on the screen today is something that he's been a lead starter. He has got a much leadway when it comes to digital in India. In fact, when we were in college way back in 2000, early 2000, he used to talk of digital, and we probably knew a little bit about it from him more than any digital media or newspapers or anything. So we'll talk about his progress, his career, his progression journey. But first, my first question to you actually, Chandan, is this recent digital protection bill that has been brought in by the government and passed by both Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. Maybe if you could just, what exactly conceptually is this bill all about? And what is this all about that being talked about?
Santosh, this bill is about the data protection of customer in a granular level. So yeah. I will give you an example so that you will be able to understand it much clearer.
Sure.
So before we get into the details of data privacy, I would like to tell you a very interesting case study of a giant retailer in US, which is the Target. So how Target figured out a teen girl was pregnant before her father did. So that is the case study. So that's very interesting to know. So Target has figured out how to mine its data and its way to figure out whether you have a baby on the way much before you need to start buying the diapers. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened was a Target statistician, his name was Andrew Pohl. Okay, he ran many tests on this data, which customer data, analyzing this data, and some very useful and very interesting patterns emerged. Okay, so a lotion, for example, lots of people buy lotion, but women on the baby registry were buying larger quantities of unscented lotion around in the beginning of their second trimester. Okay. Then there was another pattern, which was something sometime in the first 20 weeks, pregnant women loaded up supplements like calcium, magnesium, and zinc. Many shoppers purchase soap or cotton balls, but when suddenly they start buying lots of scent-free soap or extra big bags of cotton balls, in addition to hand sanitizer, wash clothes, it signals that they could be getting close to their delivery date. So this is quite interesting. So Target was able to identify about such 25 products that when analyzed together, it allowed them to assign each shopper a pregnancy prediction. So this was quite interesting. And most importantly, they could also estimate the due date within the small window. So Target would send coupons to very specific stage in her pregnancy. So the story happened. The father, of this young lady comes to running at the Target store, and shouting at the manager, "My daughter is getting these coupons, but she's still in the high school, and why are you sending her the baby products?" But in fact, that lady was pregnant. Okay, and that was how close the information it was getting. So the most interesting fact is this case study was 20 years back.
Wow. So now digital was not even heard of.
Right? The digital was not even heard of. Imagine in today's hyper-connected world, the amount of data being collected and analyzed. The expression now that the data is the new oil. Now you understand why it is new oil. data is fueling the increasing number of businesses. So every time we are online, we share intimate details about our consumption patterns, our behaviors with retailers. And those retailers are studying those patterns to figure out what we like, what we need, personalized customer experiences, automated marketing messages, science-driven insights, etc., etc. And companies are eager to get this data, but government, on the other hand, are keen to protect the privacy and safety of individuals. That's where the data protection, this is, the beginning of understanding why data protection is important. Therefore, this data privacy law is very, very important. In its core, it empowers individuals to maintain control of their personal information. So this is the first. It allows them to decide how their data is collected, used, and shared. And it also ensures that personal information is not exploited or misused without consent. So this is the in entirety, what this this bill is. So I hope it gives a basic idea about
absolutely.
What this
in fact, you put it very well, especially with that example where 20 years back, if Target was able to do it with such level of precision, if I may use that word.
Correct.
So I can imagine with current softwares, AI, or whatever you talk, the information gathering and then the the information that has been sent to the customer must be so precise and even more precise than what can one think
Absolutely.
of. In fact,
so we always say that we are being puppet of all these big companies, and we are exactly buying what they would like us to buy.
So coming to this data protection bill, how does this protect an Indian? That's my first question. And two, what is it that the Indian citizen should do to make sure that they are protected by themselves, as in a self-help kind of a scenario?
Okay, so this is you have given a broader perspective for an Indian consumer. But first, you will have to understand what this data protection, which we call it a digital personal data protection law, which India calls it. So digital personal data protection law. So what it has, 7 principles on which it is, based on, which is, we'll have to understand. So the first principle is, it has to be consented. So the principle of consent, which should be lawful and transparent use of personal data. So user should give consent to use his data lawfully and transparently. So that is the first framework, principle. The second principle is purpose of limitation. It means that it should be for specified time, for which this consent is given. It cannot be forever. It's like that. The third is data minimization, which is collection of only as much personal data which is necessary to serve specified purpose. So you should not ask for too much of a data.
Just what you need, you get.
If you want name, if you want date of birth, if you want contact number and email ID, that's it. You should not ask for address. You should not ask for Aadhaar card, etc.
Whatever is relevant is also required to be given.
Whatever is relevant, you should ask for. Then there is something called data accuracy. So when the data is given, it should be the company should make sure that who is taking that data, it is correctly maintained and it is updated over the period of time. I mean, you must be also checking that banks are asking for your
updated KYC.
Update KYC again and every year. So or on a regular basis, whenever you log in after some time, that is the purpose of this data. So accuracy, it is important. Then the principle of storage limitation. So that is also very crucial, that storing data should be only for a specified time. It should not be forever. So that is very, very crucial. So you should the company should mention it will be used for, let's say, 1 year, and it will be purged after that. It will be deleted, and that consent is already given by the customer. So it has to be mentioned. then very important point is, if you are giving me data, it is my responsibility to safeguard it.
Yeah.
It should not be
Available to third party.
it should not be breached. So that is where this target case study is coming along. How it is going across, or banking data, insurance data. How I mean, you buy something, and then how you are getting calls from other vendors or other suppliers. It should not happen. So that is what it's saying. And the last is the accountability. So now, to make the companies accountable, there is, if there is a breach, so there will be a penalty. So that is very important. So government will educate the penalty on the if the accountability is not there. So that is there right now. Earlier it was not there. So these are the 7 principles of the data, and this is very, very crucial, because let's consider that there is a fashion e-commerce retailer brand seeking permission to offer a personalized product, suggestion based on users' browsing history and purchasing habits. Brands must now obtain explicit consent before utilizing customer information for personalized marketing endeavors.
Wow.
So now, I mean, what happened is, while we were working with one of our US customer, what we came to know that, they said that we will have to follow data protection as per the California compliance. Okay. So we said that, we are in India, still do we have to use data protection of California? Yes, they said yes. So we started this process. And then during this process, we came to know that this data protection applies to the whole organization. It is not for one particular project. Okay.
Okay. So it is not a location agnostic bill. Okay.
No, it is not location. Wow. So if an Indian company is taking data from US customer or Australian customer, they also it is India specific. So and not only that, for that purpose, if suppose on the website, it is very common to have a contact form. Okay.
Yeah.
So you send me information, and I will save for inquiry. Let's say your name, your email, and your phone number.
Yeah.
Now you cannot have that. You have to have a consent form mentioned there, that you are giving me explicit consent to keep this data with me, and I will, all these 7 principles are applicable to me. So are you understanding? It is not. It is now applicable to everyone. It is not for somebody says that it is. I am a small company and I can have a form. No. Even if your HR department asking for resumes. Okay.
Yeah.
So that data you have got. So it is HR department's responsibility to maintain protection. It should be lock and key if it is in a hard copy format, and if it is in digital, you'll have to make sure that nobody has access to that data.
Wow.
So that is how important this rule is. Okay. So that is the Indian context I have given. It is not for marketing, it is for everything now.
Yeah, everyone. In fact, you brought out a very important point. Now that these 7 principles have been defined, the devil, as they say, is in the detail and the implementation, right? The bill has just been passed. So do you come across, or where is it heading? I know it's early days, initial days, but do you see organizations accepting, or rather they have no options because it's the end of the day a government bill, but are organizations starting to implement this in their organizations?
I think India would be pretty slow in this. I think, I mean, everybody now knows that, this data protection law is being implemented by different news, but they don't still understand, the implication of, this data protection at such a granular level, which I have just mentioned you, that, even if you have a contact form, let's forget digital, if you are just taking resumes, in a printed format, it is your responsibility to maintain that data.
Yeah, and that's probably Sorry,
So all the large organizations will have the legal team which will immediately start implementing it. So government level, all the MNCs level, it will get implemented very fast, because they know, there are legal implications and they don't want to get into it. but at the SMEs or the smaller companies, they
Yeah.
will
Take time.
not understand the importance of this, and they will try to avoid it unless unless until somebody starts
Yeah.
putting legal cases
Notices.
on them,
True. True.
notices to them, and then suddenly they will get awakened. So that's
Yeah.
how that's where India does not wake up until
Yeah. The
it
whack
is very
comes. Yeah. Yeah.
so,
And that's
so
probably
that,
where my podcast, and our discussions will help, in kind of relaying the information what is very important for each and everyone as a citizen. I was going to come to this point about the fact that with this social media, right? A lot of our own information, be it any platform, Facebook, LinkedIn, or even WhatsApp for that matter, we have been relaying a lot of our own personal information in terms of your phone numbers, emails, Aadhaar number, PAN card, so and so. So, and what kind of, I mean, is it really possible to kind of take some kind of a precaution, or are we really having, a day where it comes and hounds you back?
it's going to hound us back if we
Mm,
don't take care of our data. For example, whenever I travel to US, if you ask for social security number to anybody, even my family member, they
yeah,
will not be ready to, even tell you their social security number. So
yeah,
how much they are aware about this.
yeah,
And here, Aadhaar card is asked by any person or for any organization. You try to go for your identification, they ask for your Aadhaar card, then you go to photocopier, and
yeah,
you make copies of Aadhaar card, and then you come back. But there are organizations which goes to these photocopiers, they pay them to
mm,
get the Aadhaar card, so
mm,
that they get the authenticate information. And that, as I said, data is the oil, the new oil.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they are getting valid information about all the customers, their addresses, their correct names,
yeah,
and all the age details, etc. So which is not correct. So
mm,
this is going to hound us. But the DPDP Act is the first step, going to
yeah,
safeguard this.
mm,
So who is not coming into this framework or unlawfully trying to use this data,
yeah,
they can be prosecuted. So this is which is good,
yeah,
which is a good
absolutely.
step which has been taken.
At least India has now taken the right step, and at least towards digital awareness. And it's a cultural issue, right? As you say, in US, it's culturally there that you can't share the number, right?
Yeah.
Whereas India, it is it's more of nobody really cares or bothers unless that awareness is brought in, and I guess slowly and steadily the awareness will be made. So my question to you,
Yes.
especially in India, right? Literally everyone, almost everyone has a mobile phone, right? They use it for various purposes. I mean, I recently came across something on Twitter where the bride, okay, she had a QR code as a mehendi, okay, and somebody kind of
That's
scans
so
it. So
funny.
yeah, so that's
That's a
where we
good
are.
story.
Yeah, that's where we are. So, but then you have a generation. So your Gen Zs and the Gen 2000 onwards, the millennials, etc., are digitally aware and they are digitally smart. My concern comes is for a generation of the senior citizens, or the ones who are digitally, I won't use the word illiterate, but sensitive, not so sensitive to information, the digital data, where you get the OTPs or these data where you just share. How can one and I do come across regulatory ads, be it SEBI, RBI,
Mhm.
which actually are making the such strata of the community aware through television and radio, etc. But having said
Correct.
that, what what are your suggestions or advice for such kind of a community where we can make an effort to make sure such information is not shared easily?
So there are two parts to it. One is, a little technical part to it, and one is, just what you call, a general awareness or
Yeah.
general knowledge, which is very important,
Hmm.
especially in, senior citizens case,
Yeah.
so which they are moving on to the, smartphones, and they are also getting prone to these attacks or,
Hmm.
spam issues. So the first, if I can discuss about, I can tell you about the technical aspects of it, which everybody should be aware about. First is the first and the foremost here is you should have an antivirus on your device. So so suppose you have a senior citizens at their home, your home, the people who are aware about this should install antiviruses.
Okay.
On their laptops or machines, etc.
Yeah.
Having a strong password is extremely important. And there is something called two-factor authentication, which is being used almost all the
Almost
main
all the
sites.
mainstream banking.
So OTP is very, very crucial. And they should be made aware that do not share the OTP with anybody. Okay, so that is very, very crucial. So it should be told to them, so that these kind of cases, mishaps can be avoided. They should be cautious. Important part is Wi-Fi. Now this Gen Zs and the new generation people, youngsters, they want internet all the time. They cannot live without. Okay. And so wherever they go, they need a Wi-Fi connection. So this Wi-Fi is the one very important security gap. So if you are at the public places and if you are using Wi-Fi, if you are viewing movie, if you are just browsing through the internet, that's all fine. But if you are trying to do some shopping, if you are going onto a banking website,
in the public space, right?
Using
the their Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it should be completely avoided. And also there is there are cables lying on the for charging your device. So that should not be used. You should use your own cables. That's very, very crucial. Okay.
Wow, that's
so,
interesting.
If you're going to the airport.
Yeah, but Chandan, if you're in an airport or in any mall or any public space where Wi-Fi is available and you have a transaction to be done, like so swipe your credit card, are you suggesting that is not right? And but because there's no alternative to one, right? One has to do the transaction. What are the precautions?
So, transactions can be done. Transactions are not an issue. What I'm saying is, using that Wi-Fi connection, logging on to your, computer, browsing, banking website, and then doing transaction should be avoided. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because in the public Wi-Fi, if some hackers are there, they can be able to see exactly replicate your screen on their laptops. Sitting next to you, you would not know, they are stealing your, they are checking everything. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's
that you would not know. And they can take screenshots and everything, and which could be, disastrous for you.
Yeah, but as you rightly pointed out, millennials, or for that matter, any generation, you may stay a little bit while okay with oxygen, without oxygen, but Wi-Fi, no way. Right?
Wi-Fi, net connection is their oxygen, I guess.
Absolutely. And now even in aircrafts, right, you get typically good airlines, you get Wi-Fi free, at least the text-based Wi-Fi. So, you really, out of space.
So everybody is on their digital devices.
Agreed.
Other things are, you should make sure that the site is SSL, so you should see HTTPS, so that is there. You should, keep upgrading your operating system, because if there are new threats, operating system companies like Microsoft or, Apple, they are releasing the newer versions of, their software so that, hackers cannot get into it. So you should upgrade and update your softwares, which is, general feature in your, in your all
Office,
the devices.
Correct. Yeah.
You should not share too much of, data on social media. That is also very, very crucial.
Agreed.
You have to be cautious, informed. You should take help, I mean, seniors I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They should take help from somebody, so their sons, their daughters, or whoever, around.
Yeah.
And that's, the general, principles that you should follow. Okay, so that's
one
what,
interesting question, and I've been seeing this on a lot of WhatsApp forwards, right? Where pictures, right, photographs, we put on Instagram and all these kind of social media. And there's a lot of talk and coming on through the WhatsApp university that one shouldn't do that because there's a good chance of it being morphed and a lot of crime happening in that space. How true is that? Maybe for you, a question to you. And is it possible? How true is that one should avoid?
It is very, very true. It is very true. I mean, we are also scared about, what could happen. I mean, let's consider, this podcast that we are doing,
Yeah.
and with the latest technology, you can show it as if, you are interviewing, Bill Gates, or,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
Elon Musk, that
Yeah.
way, the face can be altered, and,
Hmm.
at the real time, it would look like, you are talking to, somebody else. So that
Yeah.
is possible. It is not only for pictures. I'm talking about real-time videos. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is the
Interesting.
situation. So it's
Uh,
becoming a little scary.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to ask you one more question in this, because you come across a lot of posts on Facebook where somebody says, there is this post about legal terms and conditions, etc., for Facebook, and then from tomorrow onwards, if something comes in, you can always go ahead and sue for Facebook. I'm not sure how true is that, or is it just another kind of scam
So,
around? So we just don't know, right?
no, I think such information should not be taken into, immediate consideration, and you should
Yeah,
not follow those, immediately.
completely.
Always, any information comes on social media to anybody,
Hmm.
it should not be considered true.
Hmm.
We should go to the correct source of information and try to find out whether the information that we are seeking is correct or not. So,
Absolutely.
as
Fact
we,
checking.
we also learned together that, you should not trust on any media actually
Agree.
immediately.
Absolutely.
You should make
Absolutely.
sure that, you see multiple sources.
Yeah. Are there any gaps in digital space? I know you did outline a few of them, but as the technology is growing, as AI is coming into shape, what are the gaps in digital space that one needs to be focused on and be cautious about?
Um, the gaps, I mean, the issue what I am seeing is, that there are some challenges,
Hmm.
that, as I said, told you earlier, there are the companies are complying with it, and then there is companies are not complying with it. So that
Hmm.
is going to be the critical gap. Given that
Hmm.
the bill mandates businesses to adhere to data protection standards,
Hmm.
they will be needed to employ these changes by implementing data protection infrastructure. So there is an
Ah.
infrastructure required. For example, when we were implementing CCPA and data
Hmm.
protection infrastructure, the guidelines,
Yeah.
we came to know that we had to adhere to so many policies
Hmm.
that we had to change our software and hardware infrastructure in our office.
Hmm. To meet the
So
guidelines.
that is a critical gap. For, I mean, simple example, uh, like what kind of email system that you guys are using, okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
and what kind of access privileges given to your employees to seek some files from your internal data, external data.
Yeah.
Suppose your employees are working from home, you
Yeah.
know what kind of protection is there so that they can access that data from home or from office.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
unless until, so these are small things, but it requires good data infrastructure then. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Interesting.
So
Uh,
these are the critical, so, and that will take some more time for Indian companies to evolve and get
yeah.
into the data, the market,
Agreed.
get into
Agreed.
the DPDP
Okay.
bill.
Let's talk about your own career, right? Ccom Digital, which you're the founder and MD. Take us through your journey, your career journey, because you, as I said in the beginning, right? You got into this. You really had a head start in this space. Lot of, I think, almost at the beginning of 2000, right? So what's
Yeah.
been the learning? What do you see the future? Especially AI and all these kind of tech terms that we use day and day. There are going to be no jobs, etc. Maybe you could just start with taking us through your journey of CCOM.
So I studied in US, and you would not believe. I mean, if I tell you right now that my master's in US from CSU is in AI,
Oh,
and
wow.
it took this 25, 30 years
Hmm.
for AI to grow and over in the whole world. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah,
I was thinking AI would be great, and I'll be working in AI,
yeah,
because looking at these movies, I
yeah.
was
Fascinated.
very interesting that I should learn AI.
True.
And then, it is taking so much time for the entire infrastructure structure to change,
Yeah.
and AI is being used,
Yeah.
getting into different, different industries right now, after
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
So my journey began when I came back in 2000. I started with websites, websites
Yeah.
development, e-commerce development. But when I saw that e-commerce was not picking up in 2003, because I also wanted to become a Jeff Bezos that
Yeah.
time.
It's always good
So,
to
but
dream, though, and you see where you are today.
yeah. So the entire journey, it did not came as I wanted, but we evolved over the period of time, and then we became started from websites, e-commerce, search engines, social media, then advertising, and over the next 10 years, we saw how the companies evolved. From advertising agencies also came into digital marketing, and digital agencies gone, merged into advertising agencies. So this, entire transition we saw. Then came the influencer marketing, digital PR,
Yeah.
so this,
An
it is
industry by
growing.
itself and careers right
Yeah, the
into it.
industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And each stream is itself is very big. So
Yeah.
if you consider each stream, that is only website development, only search engine optimization, only social media, only influencer marketing. So there are companies are doing business, doing verticals in this area, and we are giving a techno digital marketing edge. We are a 360-degree digital marketing agency, which we are providing services. We have done international business in Dubai, Singapore, and now we are catering to customers in US. So we have have our success and failures over the long journey.
Learnings. Yeah, I will
But
call it
we are happy
learnings,
with
not
it.
failures. Yeah.
No, it's not learnings. I mean, failures are the biggest learnings. That's what we
True,
learn.
true. Agree, agree. But tell me one
So
thing.
that's
Now that you are into this space for almost 2 decades, and I do see, are there challenges in terms of careers? Are youngsters? I know youngsters are all getting into digital, but what are the challenges that you see on the other side of it when youngsters apply for these kind of organizations? What are the knowledge levels? What are the gaps? What is it that one needs to really be knowing to get into these kind of careers?
so. So most important is what I always say. Do what you love and love what you do. I mean,
Yeah,
what Steve Jobs said.
yeah,
So that is the first thing, and they should have inclination to work into digital field. So that is very, very important.
yeah.
And then there are always, there are technical aspects of the digital marketing, and then there is a marketing and more creative ways of doing digital marketing. So they have to understand first, where they would like to get into. So when we interview a lot of candidates, what we see is they are not aware about, whether they want to get into operations, whether they want to get into marketing, or they want to get into the creative. They just know that, they want to get into the digital marketing field, but they are not sure about, where they want to see themselves. Okay,
Yeah,
so that
get it.
is
Yeah.
one big, problem that we see. And they say that, I know, how to do search engine optimization. I know how to do social media optimization, and we do content. So having one person doing all these things, three things are absolutely very difficult unless you are, a genius
Yeah.
doing all these things.
Hmm.
So these are three different departments. So this is what we see, these problems in our industry.
Okay, that's interesting to know. Chandan Bagwe, founder and MD CCOM Digital, which is India's leading digital agency. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of my podcast, The Sound of Money.
Thank you, Santosh. Thank you very much again.
Yes, and with that, we come to the end of this episode of The Sound of Money. You can also tune into my YouTube channel, which is the other one, which is Beyond Work Ashaye, where I work with my ex-radio jockey colleague, Sujata Jain, or Sujay as we know her, where we come up with a couple of podcasts already by now, where we talk about work, but we go beyond work and into the social space, where a lot of our guests who have been doing hard work, but they have been also doing a lot of social service in be it in terms of setting up old age homes or setting up schools for children, or some youngsters like Neil Khatau, whom we interviewed, who has a kind of a package for tourists coming to Lonavala while he's studying. But he also helps a lot of social institutions in and around Lonavala. So do catch our channel, which is on the YouTube channel, which is Beyond Work. And well, with that, we come to the end of this episode of The Sound of Money from me, Santosh Sirur, and my guest, Chandan Bagwe. Thank you once again for joining on The Sound of Money. Take care.
Thank you.
Sound of Money with Santosh Sirur.